Good morning, guys. Welcome to Liverpool FC Journal. I'm Owen James. This is Liverpool News Update. It is match day, guys. Liverpool travel to the south coast to take on Bournemouth. They said Fulham. Don't know why. Bournemouth today at 5:30 kickoff down on the south coast. Bournemouth, that was a nice place to go on holiday. It was a nice place to go for a football match. Let's hope so today for our boys. Guys, just about to head off to work, so I thought I'd make this video quick before heading out for another long day in the world of retail, guys. Right, look, we've got lots of different news and bits and pieces of news to get through this morning. Andy Robertson news, so what Steven Gerrard has been saying about Arne Slot's comments. We've also got a bit of a preview as well of this evening's match up. Now let's start off with the big news that broke yesterday regarding the future of Andy Robertson, Liverpool vice captain. Look, Andy Robertson, I've got to say, I absolutely love Robbo. He is probably one of the best left backs in this club's history, and considering the players we've had down the years at Liverpool, that's quite an accolade to take. Now it emerged yesterday that Liverpool obviously were receiving offers from Spurs as regards Andy Robertson. Robbo has talked about obviously his desire to play more regularly. I think that's understandable. Every player wants to play more regularly, and Robbo, obviously in a World Cup year with Scotland qualifying for the first time since 1998, wants to play regularly to be fully match fit going into that tournament for his country. So I can understand that nature. Now, there had been talks, hadn't there, earlier this month, or earlier sort of towards the end of last year, about a new contract for Andy Robertson, who is, obviously Robbo can leave for free in the summer. Now, Robbo, of course, can't speak to English clubs yet due to the ridiculous Bosman rules. He's got to wait, of course, till the end of the season to speak to English clubs, but he can speak to clubs outside of England. However, it has emerged that Spurs have accelerated their plans to try and sign the Scotsman because of a deficiency of left backs, and also a fact that Spurs are not exactly doing well this season, currently sitting down in 14th place under new manager Thomas Frank, who is under a hell of a lot of pressure. And Spurs do seem to be very active in this transfer window anyway. I've seen a number of new arrivals down there at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Well, what is the latest on Robbo? This is news from Paul Joyce. It says that Tottenham Hotspur would be willing to pay a fee of around 3 million plus add-ons for Andy Robertson, which, look, considering there's 6 months left on his deal, considering his age, is probably a realistic fee. We're not going to get a huge amount of money for Robbo at this stage. His relationship with Liverpool means he and the club will now reflect on what is best in the best interests of everyone. Now, this comes on top, of course, of reports yesterday coming out from David Ornstein and from Fabrizio Romano, which kind of said different. David Ornstein, the report that came out from David Ornstein was this. It said, Tottenham Hotspur working on a deal to sign Andy Robertson from Liverpool. Spurs brought forward plans to vie for the 31-year-old left back as a free agent in the summer. Not done, but talks between all parties advancing with a bid to reach an agreement. It's thought as well that Andy Robertson has informed Liverpool that he does want to move in this window and he does want a transfer. So look, this is going to push ahead. Now, as I said on the video yesterday that I released after this news came out, I don't see the common sense in this decision for Liverpool. I can see why they're doing it. Get some money for a guy who's obviously out of contract. Also, I can see also why. Look, they've got to do right by the player. Robbo has given his all for this club. He's won Premier Leagues, he's won Champions Leagues, he's won FA Cups. He's always been available. He's played through the pain at times. He's always given his all for this club. So you've got to kind of give something back to the player. The one criticism I've kind of got of this deal is this. It's the vice captain. It's one of the leaders. It's one of the leadership group, and you're allowing him to leave. Now, look, nothing against Kostas Tsimikas, who will probably be obviously returning from his loan spell in Roma to cover for this absence. But with the paucity of quality at the back now, with the fact that Bradley is out injured, Leone is out injured, Joe Gomez a stiff breeze and he falls over and gets injured. For me, it's a big gamble, and I think Liverpool are showing a kind of throwing away the season. I mean, I think, look, the news yesterday that kind of broke that there'll be no January signings anyway kind of said that we're giving up on this season to some extent, and there's very little ambition there at the top of the club. But to do this and then not replace him or bring in a defender at very least in this window, which looks like it will be the case, is just ludicrous for me. And you've got to ask FSG and Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes what the hell they are playing at. Taking away one of our options. And like I said, nothing against Andy, all respect to him. Obviously, all the best to him. But look, it is what it is, guys. It is just an absolute downright disgrace. It really is. That the club wouldn't replace him or at least buy a defender in this window. Right, let's move it along a little bit. News yesterday about a former Liverpool player, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Real Madrid apparently have told Trent Alexander-Arnold that he is no longer wanted at the club, and he is been told to find a new club in the summer. This comes, of course, on the back of his move from Liverpool in the summer, where he obviously left for free, much to the annoyance of many fans. Obviously, there was quite a lot of hatred and a lot of abuse went his way because of the way he went about things. Now, you've got to kind of ask Trent Alexander-Arnold, did you make the right move? You know, your brother who's advised you on this, etc., etc., is just a moron. He is a fucking moron, his brother. He really is. He's just basically screwed Trent Alexander-Arnold's career up. I mean, literally, Trent's not going to go to the World Cup this summer. He's gone to Madrid and it's turned out to be a nightmare. He's probably going to come back. And I mean, there's the two clubs that I saw interested in him. One was Spurs. One was rather hilariously Manchester United, which I don't think is an option. I mean, if Trent was to go to Manchester United, he would basically kill all and any chance he's got of ever getting back in the good books of Liverpool fans. I think Bayern Munich may have also been another club, but this guy has just basically screwed his career up. He really, really has. And look, you've got to go quite ask him a question. Did you do the right thing, Trent, leaving Liverpool? I don't think you did, mate. I really don't think you did. Now, from one person who is a Scouser who let the club down to someone who never ever let the club down, to an absolute hero, to one of the best players of all time. Certainly in my top 3 players of all time. Look, top 3 Liverpool players of all time: Kenny Dalglish, Ian Rush, Steven Gerrard. They're the best 3 of all time. Mo Salah's a very good player, would come in the top 5, but certainly not in the top 3 when you've got Stevie G, Ian Rush and Kenny Dalglish around. Now, Steven Gerrard has been speaking about Arne Slot's constant reference to low blocks. Slot references low blocks as a frustration as to why Liverpool can't play the football they want to play. He talks about it as if Liverpool have never ever experienced a low block, that this is a brand new thing that's just suddenly happened to the club. And it is really irritating and annoying. Gerrard, speaking about this, said this. He said, this was on TNT Sports, he said, he needs to stop mentioning low blocks. Low blocks have been happening against Liverpool since I was playing. That's just the way it is. And Gerrard's right. Look, low blocks against the top clubs in the Premier League, against the top clubs in Europe, have been something that's been happening since I can remember. And I'm an old man now. I'm 47 years old. I mean, I can remember when I was a kid, teams sitting back in and defending against some of the top clubs in England, top clubs in Europe. So it's nothing new, Arne. So your obsession with mentioning it needs to come to an end. Now, Arne Slot did respond to these remarks by club legend Steven Gerrard. This is what Arne had to say. He said, I can only agree with him that I speak a lot about low blocks because we face a lot of low blocks. And if people ask me after a game my opinion about the games, I have to describe something. He's also said he faced them when he played. He was one of the players who could unlock a low block because of the quality he had. So a bit of a snap back by Arne there on that one, saying that, look, what else do you want me to talk about? What else do you want me to mention? It happens to the club. I've got to talk about it. But I think, Arne, the situation is the fact that you're so obsessed with it, the fact that you even cite low blocks when teams haven't used low blocks as well, as an excuse. And I think that's more what Gerrard's getting at, is basically stop using excuses, stop using some just absolute crap that comes into your head just because you're trying to sort of find excuses for the reason that the club have played so badly, which a lot of the time is down to your football, your tactics. So look, let's get something right. Let's stop talking about the low block, shall we? Let's do what Steven Gerrard says and just forget about it, move on, and realise that that's what you're going to face. We're Liverpool Football Club. At the end of the day, teams are not going to come and want to play toe-to-toe with Liverpool because they know they'll get their arses handed to them. Just the way it is, Arne. Sorry to keep on about it, but Steven Gerrard is spot on. Well, our opponents today, Bournemouth. Now, obviously, we played Bournemouth first game of the season. What was a very exciting game at Anfield, and took a stoppage time Federico Chiesa winner to win the game for us against Bournemouth. Look, Bournemouth are not doing as well as perhaps they were at the start of the season, and I think this may come as a bit of a surprise to some people. I certainly, didn't realise Bournemouth were this far down in the league. I don't spend a lot of time looking at Bournemouth results, but 27 points this season. They've won just 1 out of their last 5 games, and certainly, When you consider that Andoni Iraola, the manager, has been talked about for a lot of top jobs and kind of cited as the next great thing, it's a bit of a surprise, really, to see them down there struggling as they are, in amongst Spurs, Leeds, Forest, West Ham, Burnley and Wolves. Now, look, for what it's worth, I don't think they're in trouble for relegation. I think, the relegation will come from Forest, West Ham, Burnley and Wolves, given the fact those clubs are so bad. So look, that's the way it is. I think that's the situation. But I think Bournemouth have suffered from the fact they've lost a lot of players in the last 12 months. Minas Kirkes obviously joins Liverpool. They've lost Huijsen, they've lost Semenyo. They've lost an awful lot of talent. A lot of a talent drain has happened there, and I don't think they've replaced like with like. So that is kind of, I think, part of the reason why they have kind of struggled this season to perhaps put results together. Now, if you look at their last 6 results that they've had in the Premier League, there was a 1-1 draw with Brighton. Off last 5 in the Premier League, won the FA Cup. They were unlucky to lose on penalties to Newcastle, to be fair to them. They won 3-2 against Tottenham at home, which, look, let's face it, no great achievement. Everyone beats Tottenham these days. But it was a Semenyo goal that won them that game. They were unlucky to lose at home to Arsenal 3-2. Drew 2-2 with Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, but did lose 4-1 to Bournemouth away. If you go back before that, they drew 1-1 with Burnley at home. They drew 4-4 with Manchester United, 0-0 with Chelsea. Lost 1-0 at home to Everton. Lost 3-2 to Sunderland away. 2-2 with West Ham. Lost 4-0 to Villa. Lost 3-1 to Man City. Won 2-0 at home against Forest. So, it is a very mixed bag of results. I think they're still a decent team. They are still a very intense team. They're a team that work hard, that run hard, that get in your face and will, I think, cause problems. And certainly be no pushover this evening for Liverpool. This is not going to be an easy game by any stretch of the imagination, even though they are down where they are in the Premier League. This is not a game that is going to be a walkover, shall we say, for a game that Liverpool will find easy to play in because of the fact that Bournemouth are down where they are. Their team last time out was organised in a 4-2-3-1. Obviously, the names that stand out there: Evan Nielsen, very good striker; Marcus Tavernier, another very good player; Adil and Karupi are their wide players. Alex Scott, the former Bristol City player; Lewis Cook work very hard to protect that back four of Truffert, Senesi, Hill and Jimenez, and their goalkeeper is the former Chelsea goalkeeper Petrovic. So, again, it's a team that has, I think, lost a hell of a lot of quality. Their bench: Christie, Smith, Diakate, Milosevic, Fraser Foster, the goalkeeper, Sadi, Reece Dolin, Da Costa, Charlie Stevens. Again, there's not a lot of impact and quality from the bench. So you can see why they've kind of fallen off a little bit in recent weeks and fallen off a little bit in terms of how they have played. Right, let's have a little look. This is my lineup prediction for today's game. I think Cody Gakpo might come back in, maybe. Maybe a change in that midfield. Maybe Sopo drops back in with Grav and Wirtz drops to the 10, and maybe Gakpo comes back on the left. That could be the only change I could see Arne making after Cody scored during the week. I mean, we all know Arne has a love for Cody. So you know what it's like with him and Cody. But this is my prediction for the lineup today. I'm going with Alisson in goal, a back four: Frimpong, Gomez, Van Dijk and Milos Kerkez against his former club. Look, I think Gomez will continue. Obviously, Konate continues to be absent, obviously, unfortunately due to the sad death of his father. And obviously, as we said yesterday, we wish the Konate family all the very best. I think Curtis Jones may well come back in midfield for Magmaka. I think, just Curtis has played well in Premier League games, and I think, Arne has shown that he has a trust for Curtis in Premier League games. So I think he may come in and they may reunite that left side of Kerkez, Jones and Wirtz. Szoboszlai obviously in the 10, with Grav obviously protecting the back four. He did so outstandingly well against Marseille during the week. And I think obviously as well, Marseille during the week, you had Maka and Grav protecting the back four. I think against Bournemouth, there's a little less of a need to do that as Bournemouth don't carry the threat that Marseille did. I think Salah will again start on the right due to the lack of options. I thought Salah did okay on Wednesday night. I didn't think he was terrible. I didn't think he was brilliant. I think he could have had a couple of goals. Again, I think he'll play. I don't think he'll play a full 90. Hugo Ekitike to start up top because literally there is no one else with all the injuries and his lack. And the fact that Chiesa's only 50-50 and he won't use Chiesa anyway. I suppose the alternative would be Gakpo if he doesn't think that Ekitike can play those 2 games. I think we have to go with Ekitike. And I think Florian Wirtz from the left. That is my lineup prediction for today's game. As in score prediction, I'm going to go for 2-1 to Liverpool tonight. To continue the unbeaten run and take it to 14 games unbeaten. Guys, let me know your thoughts, your predictions on the lineup and also on the score tonight. And also let me know your thoughts on the stories we've covered in the video. Thanks for watching. Please obviously like, comment, share and subscribe. Help us to keep growing, guys. It's slow going. We need to grow a bit quicker, so please help us to grow. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.